everyone and welcome to this fly tying video. Today we're going to tie the Split Wing Caddis Emerger. The hook I'm using is the Hanák competition barbless check nymph hook. This one is a size 12. The thread is Nanosilk from Semperfli in olive. So I've put the hook in the vise this way in order to access the back of the hook. This way I can easily tie in all the materials here at the back. Then I will adjust the hook in the vise to tie the rest of the fly. So we'll start by putting down a layer of thread. So starting a bit behind the eye, take your thread down to the bend, and here we can cut off the tag. And here we want to go down as far as possible, and we'll stay here quite a bit down the bend. The first material we will tie in is pheasant tail. This one is a natural color, so we'll take 6 strands, put them 90 degrees from the stem, then hold them and tear them off. And here you see we have all the tips aligned. Hold this with your left hand, put this on your side of the hook at an angle, and then with some turns we can secure it to the hook. Then to get the length we want, hold the ends and pull. We have the length, should be maybe half a hook gap or a little longer. And now we can come in and tie these up to when it's aligned with the point of the hook. So then I'll go back down the bend again to where I tied in the pheasant tail. Now leave it there, and the next material is some dubbing. For this one I will tie this in olive, so here is some dark olive rabbit fur. Take out the guard hairs, build up a thin dubbing noodle onto the thread, and we'll start here at the back, going up. Here you can make some open spirals and up to the point of the hook, and here we want to build up taper going from the back to the front, with the front end being the thickest and the back end being thin. So go up to the point of the hook and start building up the body. Just add a little more dubbing every time as you go. So then what we want to do is build up the body from the front to the back, so we'll end up with a thread where we tied in all the materials, but at the same time giving the fly a nice taper. So now we're here at the back, grab the ends of pheasant tail, and then making open spirals with your thread, we will secure the ends to the top, making sure to keep it in the center. And there we have the body of the fly with the back of pheasant tail. And here just tie in the fibers, but we don't want to cut these off. These will be used to do the split wing. Next I will grab some dark dubbing. This one is the same mix I used in my other videos. It's horsehair mixed with UV ice dub and some guard hairs from rabbit. We'll tie this in just here at the point of the hook. Now we'll start building up the wing, and for this I'm using deer hair. This one is a natural one, but the color is a little lighter than my other one. So it's really nice for doing wings on caddis and mayflies. Grab a little bunch, I would say half a pencil. We don't need much for this fly. Put it tips first in your hair stacker. When all the hairs are aligned, grab them by the tip with your left hand. Put them in your right hand. Measure the wing to be just behind the bend of the hook, holding it with your left hand again. Do a pinch loop and holding tight to these ends or to the tips, start making some turns through the ends. This way all will stay on top. Grab all the ends, cut these off close. The next material is CDC. This one is in the color beige, and here I've selected 2 feathers and aligned the tips, and here we want the concave sides facing upwards. This is then to fold it over and finish off the fly. With your fingers, pull back all the fibers, come in and tie it in just at the base of the deer hair. Holding everything in place, we can then pull it to length, and this CDC should be as long as the deer hair. Now holding this firmly, we can then start making some really hard turns, binding down all the materials, and these two feathers, we want to tie these down right to the eye of the hook. Some turns to clean up here in between, and with your thread just at the base of the CDC. Now we want to split the wing, so here come in and push down, and at the same time we want to pull the pheasant tail or the pheasant tail ends through, and here we want roughly 50% on each side. Then holding tight, we can tie off these pheasant tail ends, pull to make sure it's secure. With your scissors we can cut this off close. Holding everything tight, we can come in with some turns over it to secure it even more. Take your thread to the eye of the hook, just where we left the CDC. The last part of the fly is the thorax, and for this I will use a CDC and dubbing blend. So to use CDC, the easiest way is to use the magic tool from Pheasant, and here I will just put down a layer of dubbing on top of the magic tool. Grab your CDC feather and holding it by the tip and the end, we can then push it through the dubbing and into the magic tool. This way we'll have the dubbing at the bottom trapped and all the fibers, all the CDC fibers sticking upwards. Cut off the ends. With your clip we can transfer all the material from the one to the other, and then the last thing to do is to cut the stem off, and there we have our dubbing and CDC mix. To tie this onto the fly, I will use the split thread technique, and you take your bobbin, spin it counterclockwise, and at the same time pull down on the thread, and when you feel it's really flat, come in with a dubbing needle and split the thread in two. With your index finger holding it open, we can then insert the CDC between the threads. Holding this tight, we can let go. Now we have the CDC trapped between the two strands of thread. Then spin your bobbin clockwise again to cord the thread and to trap all the fibers between. Then transfer all these spins up and come up with your bobbin. And now building up the thorax from the front to the back. Come in with some turns, and then when you reach the tying point of the wings, you should have no CDC left, and here we'll push down a little bit of the fibers. Take your two ends, we can pull these to form a thorax cover, making sure it's on top. Come in with some tight turns, and then to finish off the fly, whip finish at this point, pull tight and cut off your thread. The last thing to do is to cut the two ends off close. What I like to do is to apply a drop of head cement to the thread wraps. This way it will never come undone. All that's left is to do some trimming, and here we can cut off some of the CDC, but to give the fly some life onto the water, it's really nice to leave some of these fibers a little longer. And here we can see that the wing is split. And there we have the Split Wing Caddis Emerger. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. And if you have any questions, put them in the comment section below and I'll be happy to answer them. See you next time, and happy tying!